And this is your Joy Change Speaker Series. And we're looking at ensuring credible elections, the role of the media. The Constitution in Chapter 12, particularly in Article 162, Clause 5, entrusts such onerous responsibility on the media. And that has earned the media the tag, the fourth estate of the realm, the fourth power in the realm. Are we using that power well? Whilst we wait for Susan, maybe we should get to Sheikh Aremeyaw Shaibu. Sheikh Aremeyaw Shaibu is a spokesperson of the National Chief Imam, second Vice President of the West African Election Observers Network, and the Vice Chairman to the Board of Trustees of the Friends of Mental Health. He's a member of the Board of Directors of Afro-Arab Financial Company, the Faith Project of the Catholic Secretariat, and Ghana Integrity Initiative. He also serves on the advisory board of CODEO. He's co-chaired CODEO, Board of Trustees of the Ghana Association of Muslim Professionals, Ghana and Turkey, Development Corporation, and the TVET, advocacy team of the vocational training for females of the Presbyterian Church. Yes, I'm talking about a Muslim. And I was privileged to sit in his class in the Religious Studies Department of the University of Ghana. Sheikh Aremeyaw Shaibu, thank you very much for joining us. What do you think it is that the media must do to ensure credible and peaceful elections in these high-stakes elections? Please unmute your mic.
Can you hear me now?
Excellent.
Thank you so much. And let me say good morning to you and good morning to all your respected viewers across the world. And good morning also to the members of the panel. Very erudite people, very well-respected people that I have associated with. And thank you so much for bringing me on board. And then also, I want to thank the Chairman of the Peace Council who asked me to represent him on this very important discussion. Something the subject that we are dealing with is so critical at a time when our 2024 election is approaching and concerns are being raised about the issue of credible election and what credible elections means to our democracy, or lack of credible elections also means to the diminishing of our democratic gains. So it's a matter of national importance, and indeed, the media must be seen to play a critical role, because the media fundamental role, as we have all been told, is for them to educate, to inform, and to entertain. Now, in performing this role, the media, instead of informing, can misinform. The media, instead of educating, can miseducate. The media, instead of entertaining, in fact, can cause confusion. So we don't even get the benefit or the circumstance under which we can be beneficiaries of entertainment. And we have seen this happening in other parts of the world. And so it's really, really an important subject that you have decided to discuss today. Elections that are flawed or are perceived to be flawed can cause confusion, and sometimes, rather than enhancing democracy, can destroy democracy. And across the world, and particularly in Africa, rejected electoral outcomes or disputed election results have been at the root of political tension, have caused political violence, and has caused political instability. And neighboring countries to our nation give us such good examples. I mean, we are not far away from Ivory Coast and what they suffered. We are not far away from Sierra Leone and what happened to them. And so in any case where we have had election results being disputed because there is suspicion about the credibility of it, and in a situation where election results are being rejected, then you are likely to see some of the things that is happening, which is most unfortunate. And in Ghana, we have had our own experience. In 2016, we had a whole 8-month-long election disputation in the court that dragged us back because the time that we could use for doing something better and the resources that we spent were all spent for 8 months, only for us to retain the one who won the election in power. And the ended election in 2020, we had to suffer the same thing. We're living an aspect of it which still lingers in our mind, especially with those who are in the political contestation, thinking that the judiciary is perceived to be not to be that impartial enough. So there's so much doubt about what is happening across. And all these things do really bring us to a state where even as the 2024 election approaches, there's so much trepidation, so much worry, anxiety, and fear as to what is going to happen, particularly because this year's election comes with its own uniqueness. One, the determination of the incumbent to retain power in what has become the slogan, breaking the 8. Second, the unquenchable thirst of the opposition led by a former president to also now come back to power is also another challenge. The growing mistrust and lack of confidence in state institutions that have something to do with our electoral processes is also an issue. And here I'm talking about the perception about the judiciary, the perception about the police, the perception about the Ghana Armed Forces and the role they play in ensuring electoral security. All these things have added to really heighten the situation of suspicion. And indeed, even the Electoral Commission itself is not free from the suspicion that we are talking about. So given the circumstance, and let me add also that the fact that because there is mistrust or wrong perception about the judiciary, for example, the largest opposition has declared publicly that we will not go back to court. So if you put all these things together, then the issue of ensuring that we have a credible election is something of national interest that we must all put our hands together. And this is where we see the role of the media. If the media ceases to play its role as expected, then there will be those who will contribute to the confusion. And I associate with the point that have been made earlier on by my good sister, Professor Audrey, about one, the type of discussion and the content of discussion that we do in some of the media stations. For example, if there's a subject matter to be discussed which is of national interest, is it always the case that you pitch together on the same platform two members of the diametrically opposed political parties who have completely different and diametrically opposed what do you call it, viewpoints? And indeed, in the way they express the viewpoint, it is supposed to do it in a competitive manner in order to destroy or to outperform the other, not to discuss genuinely that which answers to the needs of the time and that which also promotes our national cohesion, our deepening our democracy, and enhancing our peace. Like you have been doing, bringing all of us together, people who are mature, who are nation-spirited, who are well-educated, well-informed, who have a sense of ethics and a sense of appropriateness, sense of propriety. These people have been lined up so that we can share our opinion. But contrary to this, you find in many of the media stations where always it is the case to bring the two dominant opposing political parties, and then the tone of the discussion, the content, the personal attacks, the effusions that they exude against each other sends the wrong signal to the uninformed person who is a grassroots political activist who does not even appreciate the issue very well. And yet, these are the issues and the way that we discuss them, and then we go on, creating more of the confusion. So that's one of the area of the challenges that we think that the media can do something about, so that all the time we bring the right people with the right frame of mind who will be able to, in a more dialogue approach, present alternative ideas and views that seeks to promote national cohesion, and also so that will save us from the national division that we are all experiencing. I mean, secondly, the media can also seek the correct information. For example, the National Peace Council has designed a guidelines for intemperate language and hate speech. The content of this book, we expect that the media, regardless which political party they belong to, can pick on this material and from time to time discuss page by page and topic by topic the various issues that we need to be conscious about, so that we don't use the media to cause more division, particularly the issue that surrounds ethnicity. If the media gives chance for somebody who wants to say something derogatory about a certain ethnic community or tribal community, and that media house allows that to be said, then what is going to happen is that a certain kind of disaffection is going to be created and conflict between two ethnic groups that have lived together in this country for a long time. That is one of the things that I think that the media should guard against. And so in the guidelines to interpret language and hate speech that we have developed, the Peace Council will want to see the media picking this and making sure that the public is well educated on what we all need to do to maintain the peace in the country, and use decent language in our media wavelengths. And thirdly, the media should also try to educate the public on the whys of election, especially in the times when we know that monetization has become trendy in how our politicians buy the conscience of electorates. I think that is something that we have not done so much in the media to educate the public about not the how of election, but the why of election. Because I understand election to be when you vote, it is your sovereignty that you pass on to another person who seeks your mandate in order to represent you as a president or as an MP. But for you to really take money for such a person and then to really vote in accordance with a certain demand because certain money has been given to you, in the first place, you set the tone for a corrupt representative. And secondly, it means that we have no interest in the type of person we want to become our president or the type of person we want to become our MP, because we have sold our conscience. This understanding of the fact that when you vote, it is your mandate, which is God-given, which a trust that you have, which you are passing on to another person, whose request from you is to pass on this mandate so he can give you the service that as a nation we need. This, I think that we have not done so much of this, but we have also been part of the fray, particularly in an era of media proliferation. The social media is awash with some of those things. These are things that we think that the media should be able to do. The media organizations should really look at what are the threats to our peace and what are the things that we can do to enhance credibility of election. When we say credibility of election, what are we talking about? How does the public appreciate what a credible election means? Is it about public trust in the outcome of election? In which case, all institutions that have something related to the elections need to be examined. Transparency with respect to how they are doing their work. All these things are things that the media should help in ensuring accountability, in ensuring inclusiveness, in ensuring fairness, ensuring peace, indeed, ensuring that even in the midst of competitiveness, there is fair grounds and fair coverage of any election competitor who needs also to sell his message for everyone to really understand. The media needs to collaborate closely with the Electoral Commission to understand the rules that they have set and be able to assist where it is relevant for them to use their platforms to ensure that the rules that have been set by the EC, as long as they are all approved, especially by the IPAC, are something that the public need to be well educated on. And I'm sure that if we are able to do these, then we can see really the role of the media as an indispensable component of our democratic process, and one that we cannot dispense of, and one that plays a very critical role that we must all appreciate. Anything apart from this will mean that we are deviating from our traditional role and are deviating from the objectives of the media. That is, as I said earlier on, once you fail to inform and still you are an operation, then you can misinform, or you can disinform, or you can miseducate, and in miseducating, you misguide the people and help them to also do things that are wrong, that set our country on the path to confusion, on the path to political instability, on the path to post-election violence, as we witnessed during the 2020 elections. Indeed, the scenario of 2020 elections and what happened in the aftermath of it are fresh in our minds. That's why the National Peace Council, in the immediate aftermath of the election, had to organize a whole retreat for all stakeholders, at which the role of the media was also highlighted in the way that I have mentioned. So the National Peace Council is happy with this kind of platform, and we want to encourage the media to do some introspection. In fact, the state media, the non-state media, the political media, the partisan media, all of us must come together and understand that we have only one Ghana. And once we slip into violence, when we cross the borders of our country, we are no more citizens of Ghana, we are called refugees. It's a whole national assignment, and to promote credible election is a collective responsibility.
All right.
The election management body, the media, the security, the CSOs, and all of us. But in this particular context, we are settling on the media. And I think that the media has a critical role to play. So this is the bit that I can say with respect to how I feel about the work of the media in the approach of the 2024 general election.
Thank you very much, Sheikh. And we have two questions for you. You speak about pitching the two major political parties on sensitive election issues. The media sees that often as meeting the requirements of fairness and balance in their discussions that they hold. But my substantive question is, CDD and its partners, CODEO included, have just finished organizing what could be termed as responsible election reporting training seminars for journalists selected across the country ahead of the elections. Should the Peace Council not be the one spearheading such, encounters with journalists, rather than wait to react and correct when sometimes the correction may be too late in the day after the trouble has been caused?
Thank you so much. Samson, you are aware that in almost all the engagements that we have undertaken with the Office of the Chief Justice, with the CDS, with the IGP, with the political parties, communicators, with the council of elders of the political parties, and all those that I can list. In all these, and indeed in the last one that we participated at Peduasi, the event at which we were able to get the NDC to decide to go back to IPAC. All these things, we have been able to really draw the media into it for them to see what we are doing. But as I speak to you now, I think next week or so, in fact, we have planned a training program for the media, particularly, and the subject of that media engagement is going to be on the guidelines on intemperate language and hate speech. Because we think that in this season, that is what we must do. I think it has been a concern for us, not today. Without the politics of it, I think I will give credit to former President Atta Mills, who in the aftermath of election got worried and concerned about the politics of insults. And he invited the Christian clergy at Peduasi, after which he invited the Muslim scholars at Peduasi. I happen to be one of those who represented the Muslims to make a presentation. Since then, I'm yet to see any political leader who has expressed worry about how young politicians have reduced politics into a space for insults, disrespect for the elderly, and also raising tension. So now that we are going to do this, we are expecting that when we call the media and they come and understand and appreciate what it means for us to guard against hate speech, then I'm sure if they want to do journalism of conscience, journalism of ethics, journalism of morality, journalism of national service, journalism of having the heart at heart, the development of our country.
All right.
Every single journalist, whether you belong to NDC or MPP or any other party, have this at your heart. Now, so next week is one that we are going to do, and hopefully we are able to get the journalists to now probably look at their approach for a better.
I was also concerned about the collaboration between the Peace Council and the media. But really, since we're talking about fears that have been expressed by previous speakers, you represent some key institutions, at least the Peace Council, Codeo, and then also the Chief Imam's Office. Are you also entertaining such fears, at least from the Peace Council point of view, and then also from the Chief Imam's point of view? Are you concerned or you have fears about the fact that the media will not be able to deliver an unbiased and professional coverage of the elections?
I think that we would be unfair. We'll be unfair to the media if we give an impression that the media has failed completely or the media is not doing well. I mean, we have lived in this country across political regimes and across political cycles. We are all here, and we have seen how some of the media stations have done very well. And not to flatter you, I think that the Joy News, for example, is one of such very credible stations. The GTV is one such stations that we must all mention. But the fact is that there are politically based media houses or television stations, FM stations. For them, it is doing the bidding or the agenda of the of that politician who set that media house, because probably we have not been able to do our due diligence very well. And we have hidden behind the right to establish media stations, so we are unable to identify the political agenda and inclination of the one who established it. So these people are there, and for them, the issue they are dealing with is not so much about the national interest. It's about promoting the interest. And for such people, they give us a sense of worry. They give us cause for trepidation. They set us on a tone for anxiety. Indeed, like I have said, as the election approaches, we are not very confident in our hearts, because we think such type of media houses, if they are not controlled, they can really set the country apart. And so we are not hopeless, but we think that we are talking about our own reality, and hoping that when the opportunity comes, we'll be able to really come face to face with tech media practitioners and probably draw their attention to the fact that it is a national service we are all into, and the cohesion of our country and the deepening of our democracy is of priority to us, and we can call on them to look at how they can do it in a proper way.
Sheikh Aremeyaw Shaibu, we are grateful for that change of speaking there today here on Newsfile Live.